Yo, what's going on guys, Havoc and I'm back. Today we're going to be discussing things that may be coming soon. And by soon, I mean it could be this year, next year, or in 5 years. You might be wondering, how do I know any of this? Do I know something that all of you don't? Well, no. In the Supercell forums, they frequently update the list of ruled out ideas, but if you look above that list, there's usually a section called Ideas Taken into Consideration. Possible future additions. Today's video is all about some of the most interesting additions inside of that section. Whether they're working on some of these right now or plan to add them soon is beyond my knowledge. But the important thing is, they are not ruled out. In fact, some of the things written on that list have already been added, so you never know which one is going to be next. With that being said though, let's get right into it. Hero gear. Collect, equip boots, gloves, armor, helmets, belts, weapon items like many other games. I think I read somewhere that Supercell hasn't added this yet because they don't want the game to be like every other RPG out there. But the idea was still kept on that list of potential additions for the future, and it's pretty interesting. Maybe they're trying to figure out how to incorporate this into the game without making players feel like it's just another cash grab move. Maybe if they added some of these custom items into the season pass, offers, and challenges, we can take those items and either create our own variation of a hero or add those items on top of existing hero skins. It may sound dumb, but I've tried my best to visualize this in Photoshop. One last thing I want to mention is that Clash Heroes, the new game Supercell is working on, already has this. But still, you never know, and it's cool to visualize something they could be already working on for the future. Add an X-bow loaded with Dark Elixir or Dark X-bow. Currently the X-bow is loaded with Elixir. Although the option to reload it was removed altogether, your base still automatically reloads it with Elixir after you log on. It doesn't use your Elixir anymore though, but we do know for a fact that X-bows use Elixir to work. Well, the idea of a Dark Elixir X-bow was actually put in the list of possible future additions. Now, I couldn't really find any concept images, so I made my own with my horrible Photoshop skills. I tried my best, I don't know. Seeing that we just got Town Hall 14 though with no new X-bows, maybe we'll have to see and wait till Town Hall 15. Or maybe they'll introduce a new X-bow that shoots something completely different. And since you don't reload these defenses anymore, maybe it'll be called something else and not just Dark X-bow. Add spires, which add on to defenses or provide an area effect to increase stats. This sounds a little too far-fetched, but you never know. Town Hall 14 currently has 100 buildings, and if you remember from my facts video, they can't add more buildings until they come up with a solution. Well, they could just beef up existing defenses with extra stats and these spires in the meantime. Now, I'm not 100% sure what they mean by spires, because spires is basically the pointy things you see on most old buildings. So perhaps they meant something like spikes. Maybe when melee troops get near it, it does additional damage. They also mention area effects, so maybe sometime in the future they'll add, for example, a slowdown effect to anything near an archer tower, or a poison around an inferno. To the best of my knowledge, this is what they meant by defense spires or area effects. We'll just have to see and wait what they come up with. Modify ammo to include variables. Example, every 5th cannon shot is a freeze ball, or every 7th archer tower shot is a fire arrow. Wizard towers alternate different spells. Different shots carry different attributes, whether slow, fire damage, extra damage to certain troops, etc. To put it in easier terms, basically have defenses be able to shoot something different every few shots. Maybe have like a toggle or a selection menu to choose what you want that defense to do. I love the idea because it will make every base sort of unique instead of having to just rely on the meta. Of course, it would have to be tremendously balanced, but I'm sure that the team can handle it. This one really grabs my attention, and I want to hear what you guys think down below. traps or abilities on walls. I also mentioned this one in my facts video, and basically I explained that Town Hall 13 was supposed to have exploding walls, but the idea was scrapped because it was too frustrating for players when they were attacked. To elaborate more on this was from an AMA Darian hosted on Reddit, and someone asked the question, will we see any additional utility added to walls in the future, since the team has spoken about this in the past? That's where he explained the whole Town Hall 13 situation. He later went on to say that they are constantly thinking of new things they can do with the walls, and he'd be happy to hear some ideas. So yeah, we know for a fact they still want to add something on the walls, they just don't know what and when. I have no idea what they could add either, but the community has come up with some pretty cool ideas over the years, so we'll just have to wait and see what eventually gets done with the walls. Add decoy buildings that still get targeted by troops but yield nothing, like a fake mine or cannon. I don't know how I feel about this one, but I'm not going to judge the idea based on how it sounds. It's basically what it sounds like though. A building that the attacker sees like any other building, but it's just a decoy. So maybe it would have very little HP and provides no percentage to the battle. I'm not sure what else to say about this one though. It's basically like cloning a building and putting it somewhere in your base. Let me know what you guys think down below about this one, and maybe how could they add something along these lines that actually makes sense. Air-based resource targeting unit. At the moment, we only have goblins and super goblins that will go after loot. But this idea is basically an air unit like a balloon or a dragon that will specifically go after storages, mines, and pumps. Of course, on paper it sounds a little too OP, but if you make it so that it has a little HP, like goblins, it doesn't sound that bad. Let me know what you guys think down below about this one. A way to designate sister, feeder, associated clans to link clan chat in a separate tab. As you've already guessed, I have talked about this before and made some concept images on how it could potentially look like if it were to be added. Of course, I trust Supercell to make it more cleaner and pleasing to look at, but it's a start. It's basically what it sounds like, a way to connect all your clans together and perhaps even chat with them. I think this would be super useful because honestly, that's the reason I don't have other clans. I'm not there, so it would be hard to control. Speaking of which, if you ever see a clan that's supposedly mine, it's probably not. This is my only clan, okay. Anyways, you might be asking, well, why not just increase the size of clans instead of having to connect them? The reason behind this is simple. Most feeder or sister clans exist to have members who didn't meet the requirements in the main clan. So the feeder clan would have lower level people. It wouldn't make sense to just merge the clans into one massive one because wars wouldn't be the same. So this idea is to simply have a way to connect the clans for better communication, and I think that would be awesome. History button for players in the clan. For example, see stats like last clans, time in, donations given, received, kicked, left, etc. Now, unless you run a clan or have been given co-leader, I don't see this being as exciting, but trust me, this would make promotions a lot easier. To be able to see how long a player has been there without trying to look back at screenshots or ask them how many times a player has left. Is he clan hopping? I don't know. I have to be on all day to see. His total donations, because those reset every season. It would just make life easier. As a clan leader, I always find myself trying to keep track of 50 people, and it's just difficult. This isn't something that we desperately need, but it's great that Supercell recognizes this and sees this as a potential feature. And yes, just yes, please. Clan villages. Basically a village that your clan as a whole manages, upgrades, and helps out on. Again, this was mentioned in one of my update video ideas, but this was also talked about in a AMA by Darian. He mentioned he likes the idea, but there's a lot of questions around it, like who would control the village? And if the leader does, what if he leaves? What happens if the members argue over what to upgrade next? Sure, there's a lot of questions and problems they need to tackle first, but the fact that the team recognizes this as a great idea is a good sign. We could be seeing this feature coming as soon as this year, next year, who knows? I just hope that if they do add this clan village, it's not just some copy and paste of the normal village. Maybe it could have new buildings exclusive to that base or new features. sort of like something you have to go there to experience. The possibilities are endless, and if they ever add this, I think it'll be such a cool feature to play around with. Self-destruct ability for lava hounds. It's basically the same ability you have on a siege machine. You can let them get destroyed and they'll spawn the clan castle troops, but you can also press a button to do it yourself. That's basically what it'll be for the lava hounds, so you can spawn the lava pups whenever you want. This isn't a major addition, but I still thought it'd be cool to mention for those who love Lava Lunian or any other air army out there that uses lava hounds. Okay, so these next two ideas are actually categories. They have multiple sub-ideas. I won't mention all of them, but just some of the more interesting ones very briefly. Starting off with new defense buildings. The Ice Tower, which has been a fan favorite for years. I feel like this wouldn't belong in the home village though, so maybe for a future Builder Hall level. The Dragon Cave. We already have a cave that spawns a dragon in one of the Goblin maps, so maybe we could be seeing that as an actual building you can place in your village, but of course not with the overly OP dragon. And finally, the Healing Tower. If done correctly, it could be a good defense. I mean, would it even be called a defense if it heals? I don't know. Maybe the healer can do her own attacks like in Clash Royale, where she attacks and heals at the same time. Now to the next and final category is troop ideas. There was actually a huge list of these, but I picked out two of my favorites. Of course, links will be down below for the full post. Starting off with the pirate ship. I actually remember this idea from way back in the day. There used to be this idea of a troop vessel that sort of looked like a pirate ship. It's unknown if they took that idea and ended up making the battle blimp siege machine, but if we were to ever get a troop like this, it would be a great addition to air attack armies. The only thing is, what would it do? You know? I'll leave that to you guys in the comment section. And finally, the General. This is stated to be able to focus attackers to a specific building, kind of like the Flare in Boom Beach. Now, the only problem is, I'm sure this would shake the meta a bit too much. Some strategies like Queen Walk exist, because you can't lead your troops into the base if there's too many buildings on the outside. So a general would drastically change some of these strategies. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does involve a lot of thinking and balancing, and yeah. Still though, it's a pretty cool idea. So guys, that is pretty much it for my list of things that Supercell is considering to add in the near future. Like I said in the beginning, these might be something they'll add this year, next year, 5 years, who knows? Some things on the list have already been added, they just forgot to update the list, but yeah. The list has been updated though, don't worry, it's not from 2015. So these are still ideas that Supercell is considering. With that being said though, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching. Have a gaming out. Peace!